and welcome to today's video. In today's video, we are going to see how to configure routed ports on a layer 3 Cisco switch. Routed port simply means configuring IP address on a physical interface of a switch, unlike PCs and routers, whereby you can configure an IP address on a physical interfaces. By default, switches doesn't come the same way unless you configure an SVI, which is a switch virtual interface, or you manually configure an interface on a switch, which I'm going to do today. So currently what you have here is two switches, Cisco layer 3 switches over here, and they are connected together. Now the moment you connect two switches together, the first that's going to be formed is a spanning tree. Spanning tree because one, the interfaces are configured to be in a switch port mode. Same applies over here, and therefore DTP is running, so spanning tree is going to be formed. So if I run the command show spanning tree on switch 6 over here, I'm going to see the output telling me switch 6 happens to be the root of the bridge, and then at the moment all ports are forwarding. If I go to switch 7 over here, and I run show spanning tree, it takes a cost of 4 to get to the root bridge. So then therefore interface gigabyte 00 happens to be the root port for switch 7 to travel to switch 6 over here, and as you can see here, gigabyte 00 is the root port that we have. So at the moment all the interfaces on the switch do show IP interface brief. At the moment, all the interfaces are down with the exception of gigabyte 00 and has no IP address, and it cannot be assigned an IP address by default unless we configure manually. So how do we configure an IP address on this interface to act as a layer 3 device, or to act like a router? So I'll go to global configuration mode, and I'll go to interface gigabyte 00, and notice I can't configure an IP address for this switch. The command is not recognized unless we disable switch port which runs DTP, so no switch port. And at the moment I can configure an IP address for this switch 168.1.1.255.255.255.0, and I'll go back and I'll do show IP interface brief. Now at the moment gigabyte 00 is having an IP address, so we can do show interface gigabyte 00 switch port, and as you can see switch port has been disabled and DTP is not running, so there is no spanning tree formed between these switches, and we can check by running do show spanning tree, and as you can see gigabyte 00 has been left out of the interfaces available. So let's configure same on switch 7 over here, interface gigabyte 00, and once again there is no IP address command unless we disable switch port which runs DTP, so no switch port, and let's wait for a while for the interface to come up. So configure an IP address of 192.168.1.255.255.255.0. We can do exit, and we can do show IP interface brief. Now at the moment gigabyte 00 on switch 7 has an IP address. You can do show spanning tree, and as you can see gigabyte 00 has been omitted from the interfaces available, and we can also check do show interface gigabyte 00 switch port. Now at the moment switch port is disabled, so now we should be able to ping switch 1 from here. So ping 192.168.1.1, and yes, the first packet was dropped, but the remaining 4 went through successfully. So let's try to ping PC7 from PC6. So ping 192.168.1.2, and it's working successfully. So that's how to configure a routed port on a Cisco layer 3 or layer 2 switch. And by creating a routed port, the switch is going to act like a router, and then routed ports are only used between switches and routers, typically when the router connects to the internet. Thanks for watching this video. See you in my next video.